All right. Good afternoon, East Coast. Good morning, everybody else. Thank you for joining on the call. I record them and post that to this invitation, the recording of each of our calls. So if you need to pass that along to someone that is responding to any kind of work that they're doing, that's exactly why we record it. We understand you've got things going on. As much as possible, we want your leadership represented. Absolutely, we want the project represented. At least one of you to join on the call. So set aside that time, make sure you're here. I'm telling that to the people who are here. I get that, but make sure you share that with everyone else. Minute for safety. I don't know why that thing's popping up. Minute for safety, AED devices and fire extinguishers. We emphasize the monthly vehicle inspections all the time, and what you do with those vehicle inspections takes you piece by piece around that vehicle to make sure that every element of that vehicle is accounted for, noted for future sale, for future transfer. About the time you're doing that, you need to be checking on your AED devices and making sure they are functioning properly, checking your fire extinguishers around the building. These are the sorts of things that you do not need on a routine basis. But when you need them, you desperately need them for someone's life, for everyone's life in the building. So make sure when you're thinking about those vehicle inspections, we appreciate you doing that. You're thinking about AED devices and fire extinguishers as well. Big point of emphasis from Aaron going into the fall with a number of projects that we have going, projects that we're staying right on pace on, projects that we're trying to catch up on, projects that we're starting that we don't want to fall behind. These time off requests are important to your field leadership. They're important to your technicians because of things that they have going on in their lives, but they are not a given. Requesting it does not equal granting it. And we're not talking about being a Scrooge. We're not talking about just telling somebody no just to tell them and see how they react to it. We're talking about a solid balance of techs in the field, of management in the field supporting those techs. And if multiple people ask for the same time off and their timing is drastically different, their emphasis for being gone is drastically different. It's not a guarantee. It doesn't make life easy. It makes life very challenging for you as a manager. But when we are asking for days off, I want you to, everybody here wants you to consider making sure your roster is balanced and ready to go from top to bottom. That is emphasized even more as Chris hosts supervisor training. We've got a slide here. The leader isn't good because they're right. They're good because they're willing to learn and trust. This isn't easy stuff. And the your willingness to be a leader is one thing. Once you become a leader, it becomes even more challenging. Before you're a leader, success is all about yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about others. Making sure the project is set, making sure your people are set, making sure the company is set for what we are trying to do. And as we draw more supervisors here to the operations office for training to better serve you, to better serve the individuals on that project, to better serve the project team as a whole, even more emphasis this fall on balancing that time off. Who is where and what are they doing to make sure that we are covered on those projects? Chris Vaso and Chris Searles, do you want to say anything more about time off or training that's coming up?
No, I don't have anything to add to that, Joe. But again, just want to emphasize the the request going in for approval. Guys, we just want to make sure that we're getting somebody to cover us while we're out.
Yep.
The only thing I'm going to say, Joe, is tailgates. Utilize the opportunity to get in front of everyone, talk about what's right, what's not right. Just don't use it as a time where we ask everybody if they're good, right? So just, utilize tailgates, utilize the time. Thank you very much.
And we understand there are times when somebody asks for time off. We had one this week because someone reached out as part of the corporate care that Angela, the director of HR, Angela Henson, and I do on a routine basis. What we try to do is respond to that as much as possible, help that person as much as possible. And your willingness to tell us that information so that we can address it is one thing. Trying to help that individual every way we can is one thing. It's got to be considered as part of the total success of the project and everything that's going on. So making sure with holidays coming up this fall, with supervisors being pulled to supervisor training, and projects starting up and trying to catch up, make sure you balance that leadership request. Daily Geotab reports. If there's a couple categories of people with these Geotab reports in terms of management in the field. If you're asking, what is that? What are you talking about? Geotab is in every vehicle. It's the monitoring system that we have that helps us understand what's going on with our vehicles, both when they're being operated and when they're not being operated, where they are, and different reports about people's driving. If you are aware of it, but you're not receiving that report in both of those categories, want you to let us know so that we make sure we get that to you in a way that suits you. It means more emails in a job where you get a lot of emails, but it also means really helpful information on aggressive driving, on seatbelt violations, on speeding violations. And are we doing that to then say, got you, fool. We got you going 74 in a 70, and we're going to hammer you until you get that down to 71. Also, get more installations today. No, we're not doing that. What we are saying is things that get paid attention to, things that get measured, usually have results. And if we tell our people we are measuring your driving safety procedures, then our driving safety will increase. Our wrecks will decrease. If you got somebody that's not wearing their seatbelt as they are driving along, operating a company vehicle, as they're driving along, operating any vehicle, that is a serious issue. If you got somebody consistently going way over the speed limit, getting those speed limit violations, something I talk about in interviews, leadership training, these meetings, your tempo in your day is not going to be made up on the road. We're driving like a grandmother 10 and 2 on the road. Your tempo is from your vehicle to the front door, from the door to the meter, from the meter back to the door, to the line, to the light up in the bucket truck. It's not speeding there to get that done. So that tempo in between is what's really important. So if we're telling people we are monitoring them in order to better protect them, in order to better protect children that are in neighborhoods that are home for the summer, so that they can continue to have a company vehicle, so that we can continue to have insurance in this company, so that we can complete more installs so that they can get paid. That's the point. Something we want to emphasize. And look, you say, look, you sit at a desk in the operations office in Greer. You don't almost like to be monitored 24/7 when you're in this vehicle. I drove one about 15 hours and realized all the speed changes, all the 35s to 25s, 25s to 35, 35, 45, 45 to 35, down to 25. I get it. And it's annoying to be paying that close attention. Your friend is your cruise control, your friend is your speedometer, just paying attention to that sort of thing, making you constantly aware in your vehicle of what's going on around you. Very significant, those Geotab reports. And if you want additional information or better understanding and interpreting them, I don't know the exact rules of what field leadership gets every Geotab report, but your project delivery managers on the metering side, your leaders on the lighting and line side, they get them, and I'm sure you might hear about them. We also have people dedicated to that that are giving you that information as well. QA requests from the data department. This is an example of an email from a data manager making sure that, number one, we are reading the meter correctly. Number two, we're looking at the right number. Number three, we're scanning the right bar because we know you're going house to house. You might make a mistake, especially when you have trainees. And that QA request in those 2 business days is critically important to turn around. Michael Bullock is supervisor in the data department, overall data managers. He's on the call, and I'll let him speak to that a little bit as well.
Yeah. So, us in the data department, we have a 48-hour QA turnaround time. So any accounts that are completed, we have 48 hours to review all of those accounts, identify any mismatches, send any requests to the field, wait for you guys to fulfill those requests and send them back to us, update update the data and the photos and insight for those particular accounts, and then send the completion file to the utility. So today I just wanted to touch real quick on the importance of that turnaround time of those QA requests from you guys in the field to us, back here in the data department. Because let's say, today we're looking at the work that was completed on Friday. So we're going to send you our QA requests for that. And we have until, tomorrow afternoon around 4 o'clock to get those requests from you, update that data and send it to the utility. So if we're not receiving those requests in a timely manner, so the request for Friday, if we don't receive those till the very end of the day tomorrow, or even worse, like Wednesday morning, we're potentially sending bad data to the customer, because we're not going to hold up a completion file because we might not have photos for 2 or 3 accounts. We can't hold up hundreds or thousands of accounts just because of a couple. So I just wanted to reiterate the importance of you guys getting those QA requests fulfilled and sent back to us in a timely manner. And if my data managers are not sending you their QA requests in a timely manner, that's something that I need to know about. So if they're not sending you today's requests for Friday's work until like the very end of the day, that's not really fair on you guys. That gives you guys an extremely small window to fulfill those requests and send them back to us. So if you're not receiving those requests, in a timely manner, please let me know and I'll address it. That's all I wanted to talk about. So thanks, Joe.
Yep. Thank you, Michael. The data department's helping clean up a significant percentage of numbers that are just one number off, of photos that need a little bit more clarification, of addresses that needed to be fixed. And part of that deal is getting that answer back from you. So they're doing their part to make sure the information is accurate, that of all the data points we're asking you to enter, they're double checking that, trying to get that right. They're on this call, they're listening. We appreciate them being here. Part of that deal on your side is turning that information around quickly, having an excellent sorting ability for the boxes and legacy meters that come back, so that your team at home can quickly get to that meter, quickly turn that information around. You're not chasing it. You're going straight to it like a book in the library, or getting out in the field, getting to that meter. We understand we ask a great deal of supervisors, people out in the field, but getting out to that meter in some way, shape, or form, getting back with that photo is critically important. HR talked about resignation in writing. If a person on your staff says, I quit, I'm leaving, you need to get that in writing as part of the paperwork that you support, that you provide to HR in their support of you doing your job. If you don't, it's like everything, if you don't have that documentation, it's a very difficult task to make sure that we follow everything that we're supposed to follow, as we respect that person's wishes, as we complete their file, and as we move on. I don't believe Angela is able to be on the call, so can't take any questions on that. But if you have any questions, just please write me, and I'll pass that along and get your answer back to you as quickly as possible. In fact, when you ask me those questions, I try to get them out to the entire field so that everybody learns from the person that was willing to ask it. So get resignation requests in writing. Fuel cards. This is not today, but it's coming. We want you to hear it. We want your people to hear it. The assignment of the fuel cards is changing. A fuel card has been assigned to a vehicle in the past. It is in the present. It is assigned to a vehicle. The intent is to leave that fuel card and the center console or the dash, whatever it may be, so that anyone who gets in that vehicle can then type in the mileage of the vehicle, type in their employee ID, get fuel for that car. Just you're trying to get somewhere, you're trying to complete more installs, you're trying to get back to the warehouse, you're trying to take that to a project. That fuel card isn't there, you're in trouble. And what we've had is any number of issues with that card being assigned to that vehicle. So a shift is coming. I'm not certain when, probably sometime this year, where new fuel cards are coming out that are going to be assigned to an individual. I don't believe it's going to have your name on it. I believe it's going to have a number associated with your name. And Maria, I see your hand up. You want me to pause on that?
Just wanted to let everybody know. Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Okay. Just wanted to let everybody know that we did get a shipment of fuel cards in today, actually. The fuel cards that they have that are currently assigned to each vehicle, they will expire at the end of the month. They will work through the last day of September. I've already had people calling me, emailing me, telling me they're expired. They are not expired. They will work through the last day of the month. We will be getting those fuel cards to every project here soon. And they will be assigned to individuals, not to vehicles.
Thank you, Marie. So you're talking about urgency in these next couple of weeks. When things are coming to your office, don't let it sit on the edge of your desk. We don't want to do that anyway, but especially don't do it now when these cards are coming and you're going to figure it out on a Monday when you need them and people can't get fuel. The individual is going to have an individual gas card. That individual gas card will then, I believe, be powered again by your employee ID. And of course, entering the gas mileage, I assume, will remain. But it's going to give total tracking of what individuals are buying what gas. If you are not getting those cards distributed and you're kind of slinging a card around, or you're taking a group of 15 people to QT and filling it all up on one card, you have to get away from that practice so that that tracking and work done by the people on the back end that monitor everything to do with vehicles and fuel will have accurate information. You'll absolutely get questions if you get an individual that's getting really high fuel charges. Maria, I see your hand remains up. That's probably it, right? But Kadarian, you've got your hand up.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
So in the event that someone loses a car, what are we doing? Are we using our BOA?
Yeah, I don't think anyone will ever lose their card. Everyone will keep it exactly in the right spot and never lose it. How about that? Let's just no. Marie, you tell me. What do you think?
I'm not really sure.
I believe Keith said you'd have
exactly.
spare. Or sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You will have spares for each project. And then we will need to be notified if someone loses their card. So we can cut that card off and then assign the employee a new card with their employee ID and get it activated.
So not telling us let's cut out, encourage every form of communication in that huddle. And, just like Chris Foster said, we're not saying, hey, how's everybody doing? All right, y'all have a good one. We're emphasizing in that huddle, if you have done something with your card, which you might as well keep in your vehicle, unless you're changing vehicles, keep it somewhere safe. If you lose your card, don't do nothing. Tell us. If you're the manager on that project, somebody loses their card, don't do nothing. Don't just give them a card and hope that all of that will work out. You've got to communicate immediately. Treat it. Just think how you would act if you were on vacation and you left your card at a gas station, your personal card with your personal account. If you wouldn't leave that for 10 minutes at a Flying J in Jacksonville, Florida, why would you do it with a company card that could harm the company so drastically? It's just something I want you to have in mind, something I want you to emphasize, not only to your leadership, but to your techs as well. That is every slide I have. I know, Chris Seals, you've got one more, and then I'll go around the horn.
I do, Joe. I want to touch on vehicle inspections. We need to do a better job as a group doing the vehicle inspections. Again, we have 3 days allotted at the beginning of the month. The first 3 business days, whether it be the first, second, and third, or whatever the case may be. But we get multiple emails through the month of vehicles that are not done. Today is the 18th. We've already received emails about vehicles not being inspected. We really need to do a much better job on this. On the second day of the vehicle inspection, I would go back into each project if I were on each project, and I would pull and find out who has and who has not done their vehicle inspections and get that information to that person. If they're having difficulties, assist them. We have a multitude of supervisors that are able to do that. Again, we just need to get better on the vehicle inspections. It is being dragged out through the month. By the time we get them done, it's time to start all over again. So we want to try to avoid that the best we can, guys.
Chris,
That's what I have, Joe.
is the biggest violation spare vehicles? Because they're just at the absolute back of your mind, or is it across
It's
the board?
it's not just the spare vehicles. It's technicians in the field that claim that they don't know how to do it, or it doesn't go through, or whatever the case may be. Let's get a supervisor out to them and let's find out what's going on. Let's do that in the first 3 days of the month, not on the 18th.
Yep, gotcha. Thank you, Chris. Anyone at the Suber Mill office that needs to say something in addition to what we've said? Okay, anyone at Butler Road needs to say something in addition to what we've said? Okay, anyone in Project Delivery? Okay, anyone? Okay, questions from the field. You know, we give you information, you deal with real life out there. Give us real feedback, real questions that we can either answer in the moment or reply all to the group. Okay, well, this forum is not the only time that you have to ask a question. You can ask anytime. Be glad to get that question to whoever needs to have it and get the answers back to the entire group. We thank you so much for everything that you're doing in order to help us be successful. We hope you have a great week, and hope you share the YouTube hyperlink of this recording with anyone on your project team that was unable to join. Thank you so much, everyone, for being on the call. Have a great day.
Thanks.